as you can see, it's kind of just one sheet right now. And it had this tab right here up to the side that kind of has all the expenses kind of laid out, all the accounts laid out. But I didn't really like the fact that it would just always stay here. But I realize it might have some functionality if people just want to quickly look through all of these accounts. But unfortunately, I don't really want it to be shown all the time, so I kind of hit it here, just for like a little quick access if people want to be like, oh, you know, where are the accounts at? Obviously, you can also look here, but this section actually doesn't pull from this section at all. It pulls from this hidden tab here, which is locked, and so only I can edit. But what I realized for this be locked today was that the accounts also pull headers. And so what you'll see is, like, for example, it'll say accounts up here at the top, and if you scroll far enough, you'll see that at some point you'll get random headers like this one, props, wardrobes, and rentals, which is not an account, it's a header. And so the reason that's happening is because this sheet actually pulls every single account from all of these tabs into this menu. And how it does that is it's a crazy formula, but I basically just string along every single range. So I take this range, and I take this range, and I also take two at a time. I combine them together. So I combined this column and this column so that it's one-on-one graph surface. Or if we do this one, for example, it'll be a line producer here. See? And if you see with this formula, it's basically saying take that first column, add a space, and then add another. And that's what creates a line producer, assistant director, director of photography. And it does that for every single tab. So for A tab, for B tab, for CDE tab, blah, 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 blah. And what it does is, by using these semicolons in between these ranges, it puts them in one giant line column. And so this way, you know, if you want to add an account, you don't have to add it here. You can just literally add it on this tab, and it'll start showing up other places. Obviously, the goal is to make this fairly simple, but I think for the most part, people don't really add columns and whatnot. But this is a number. Oh, I guess I could do value. If, let me break this up a little bit. I think it's gonna be if lefty one. I think this has to be changed into a value first because it's only gonna recognize it as, okay, so then it's gonna be the value of this. So what I'll do is I'll make this value, and I'll take the value of this, and then this is gonna be if is number of this is equal to true, then we're gonna put the formula here if it is true. So I'm gonna say 1, and if not, put error. Let's say we'll do error for testing purposes, and then we're gonna close this all off. Okay, so I think this worked on first shot. Okay, perfect. Great, there's a hole here. There's a hole there, there's a hole there. Okay, great. Okay, so that means that works. I think so. Now what I have to do is implement this formula into this. So if it is blank, do nothing, or if it is true, put something, and if it's not true, put nothing. I think that's the case, and then I probably have to sort it. I have to sort this entire range numerically, so I think that's the second step. So I'm gonna say just only, yeah, so basically if it is a 1, if it is equal to 1, put that number. If not, do nothing. And then I can unique again off of that. So then that way it'll just clear off all of the ones that are not unique. This might be a little more complicated than what I'm making as I continue to think about it, but I think it'll work, and I hope that it's not too complicated, and maybe it will, maybe it'll work out. I think it should be fine, because I think, I'm wondering if they even put a space here for, they must, I mean, oh, well, okay, so, I wonder if they put a space for the column that's a space. We'll have to check that. So that's what, let me see what that one is. This is, okay, after 50, so let's look. Oh, I guess not. I guess it just disappears. Okay, well, alright, so that's good news to me then. So then, yeah, I can just only put nothing because it won't count the nothing columns. And no one's gonna look at this sheet, so I think it should be fine. Okay, so let's do that then. So, if is number left of the whole range is equal to true, then put that thing, which is that giant formula. So I have to put the giant formula twice. If not, put error. I mean, I could also just, I wonder if there's a better way where I can only put it once, so I don't have to deal with, I don't have to deal with all of this, in the sense of spreading it across multiple things. I can only leave it in one drop-down menu, which would be a lot easier. Like if I wonder there's a way to filter this column. I mean, the only way of filtering it is the way I think that I'm doing it, or if I query it maybe, but I think query only has to do with the first portion. The more I think about this and the more I talk myself into it, the more I'm dreading my decision. But you know what? For the sake of the sheet, if anybody has any better efficiencies of how to write this code, let me know. I probably could also ChatGPT it, and it would probably help me, but I'm a little old school and prideful of my brain, so I'm gonna just not be submitting to it, and I'll look after it post this video, and then when it condenses it down to one line, I'll be very upset. But anyways, let's go ahead and do that. So, yeah, okay, so then we'll do this one more time. So, this is becoming a very complicated formula, as you can tell. So, unique. Okay, so I think I can actually get rid of the unique here, but I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna double unique it. So then, okay, so here's what I need to do. So now I need to take this formula, and what I need to do is implement that formula right there, essentially. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's use this as so it's going to be another array formula, because we're going to array formula this again. And it's going to be if, let me see, I can just copy the front portion of this to make it like, okay, there we go. We're going to copy this front portion, because that's what it's going to be, and I'm going to place it right there, not a double. Okay, if formula, if is number value, let, and this is going to be unique array formula, blah, 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 blah. If this left is equal to 1, his number, question mark, is equal to, if that is equal to 1, we wanted to put do nothing, or we could say is anything else. Is anything else? Is anything else but a number? No. Is anything else but true? Right? If it's anything else but true, put 0. I think that's. Oh wait, is this still crap? Value, okay. Do a close parentheses. Okay. Is anything but true? Do nothing. If not, we're gonna have to put this whole portion, which I think is this, which is that. So we're gonna take all of this and duplicate it. Oh god. Anything? Okay, let's see. Okay, I think it worked. Not bad. Okay. So I think that worked. Now, unfortunately, we still have the blanks. So if I put a unique in front of this, unique, it should clear. Oh, I spelled unique wrong. Did that work now? Okay, let's see. Okay, I think it cleared out all the numbers except for the blank, of course, which is at the top. So that works. So now if I go here to the POs, it should be a consistent 50, 51, and I don't believe there should be a blank log here then, which is beautiful. Okay, perfect. Yeah, if there's a better way of doing this, more sense, and just like structurally you could make this so much better, but unfortunately this is not the case, and so I'm forced to kind of do it like this. I really have to think of a better way of figuring that out, where I don't have to just do this. I can just filter, filter out a condition. But I don't think that there's a way that I perfectly think of, except, I don't know, I've seen a lot of fancy lambodas and all these other things, which I've never really kind of used, so I'm just using it in a very old school way. But for, for a template that, is going to go to the masses and should be pretty straightforward in the sense of, this is how you use it, I think it should be good. Okay, so I'm going to delete that just because we don't need that anymore. But this looks great. One thought that I did have was that I maybe want to make another one, like another column stack, that just showcases which columns these are from, or which categories, like A, one line producer, C, C would actually be over here, but like, this C, graph surface, and just do all of that so that it has like a